The Winter Guard finally has its shield, but is the bear actually a resource trap, or is he worth the gold? Let's unleash the beast. Now, as we take a closer look, we're going to see that there are some things that are very, very apparent with this character, very visible to the naked eye, and there's some other things that are kind of more subtle under the hood. Both of those things, as we take a look at this character, really contribute to a really interesting and strong character. For example, we're looking at the new 3.0 stats and his power, right? He's the 5th strongest in the game overall, period, right? 5th strongest character. His health pool is at the top. He has the most health. He ranks #1 for health in this game, meaning he will indeed be able to take some punishment and he can deliver it right back at you. Damage is 6th overall, armor 6th overall. So he's going to be receiving attacks. He should be able to stand up and stay healthy, and he should be able to reciprocate that damage. Darkstar, interestingly enough, all those places where there's 6s, he's tied with her for that. So both of those characters have similar stats when it ranks there at those 6 spots. Right, so again, he could be considered 5th in those same areas as well. Focus, 23rd, resistance, 6th. So once again, the point is for him not to be controlled, for him to take punishment, and then when it is his turn to attack, he's going to hand it out mightily. His speed is 117, so he's very slow. The Winter Guard team as a whole is pretty slow. But again, it's not anything really to get concerned about with this character. He needs to absorb damage. So he goes slow, he goes later on, and we'll see that when he does go, the effect that he has on the team to keep them up and running is significant. Admittedly, I'm not 100% sure what ISO class to choose. I think that Fortifier would be the best, maybe healer as well, but I'm going to go with Fortifier. Reason being, it's because Ursa isn't going to attack very often, right? In the way that the team is going right now, and with other teams that are in the game, by the time you get to Ursa's turn, he's going to attack once. He's going to attack once. That's going to reset the team, so you need him to endure punishment until that time. That's why we're going to go with Fortifier. It's going to give him a larger health pool. It's going to give him barrier and allow him to stay alive until it's time for him to retaliate and get the team back on its feet. Let's get into his abilities, starting out with his passive Grizzled Veteran. If this character has 3 Winter Guard allies, so just to reiterate, there are already 3 free-to-play Winter Guard characters in the game. So if we did indeed unlock Ursa Major, these things would activate. We would be able to use this today. So if this character has 3 Winter Guard allies, enemy focus can only be increased by positive effects, and allied focus can only be decreased by negative effects. So there's a lot of characters that have text right in their abilities that say increase focus by X amount, by some large number, or by some insane percentage to make sure that those abilities will land. Ursa Major takes that away. Those individuals are now on equal playing field with you, and the only way focus then can be adjusted is through offense up or offense down. In Alliance War, before this character's first turn, right? So before the game, in Alliance War, before Ursa Major's first turn, so essentially before the match really even starts, Ursa Major and all Winter Guard allies will get 50% damage reduction and resistance. This is permanent from my understanding. So that means essentially that the team will always, in a sense, have defense up. They will always simply reduce the incoming damage by 50%. When a Winter Guard Protector ally loses taunt, then Ursa Major will gain taunt. So obviously that's going to be Red Guardian. The damage will be shifted to him first, right? Red Guardian taunts early. The damage will be shifted to him first. If he takes too much damage, Red Guardian is going to drop the taunt. Ursa Major will pick that up. And so then the damage will be dispersed between the 2 tanks until Ursa Major gets an opportunity to take a turn, which resets the team. So if Ursa Major has 3 Winter Guard allies, once again, there are 3 free-to-play Winter Guard characters already in the game. So with the addition of Ursa Major, this kicks in. Your opponents cannot gain defense up, immunity, or possess. The possess, obviously, that's a shout out to the Shadow King. You just eliminate that from happening. But think about this for a minute. Enemies cannot gain, right? It doesn't clear. So perhaps even if they have, I have to test it out. Even if they have Safeguard, right? If they don't have the ability already, they cannot gain the ability. So the characters cannot gain the ability to protect themselves or stop you from applying your negative effects. Enemy support, blaster, and protectors cannot gain charge. Momentarily, we're going to dive into that and show you how significant that is, but we'll continue. This character and all Winter Guard allies cannot gain minor defense up, or defense down. That is impressive. And because of what we already talked about in the passive, they essentially always have defense up because they will always reduce incoming damage by 50%. And since you cannot gain defense down, again, that number will not drop any lower than that. They also cannot gain darkness. So that's a shout out to Null. You can just go straight at him and not worry about the effects of darkness. It does make me wonder, the next time the Echoes of the Abyss, right, that Null boss fight come around, I wonder if Winter Guard will be usable for that. So then that makes me think, I'm wondering what effect would that have if they cannot be exposed to darkness. Let's just take a few minutes to demonstrate this. We're going up against Astral with the Shadow King, and as we see, the possessed icon isn't even there, right? It's not even on the screen. He didn't spawn with it, so meaning when he struck down, he's not going to pass it on. So again, it takes away one of the big draw points of Astral. I mean, they're still strong, but once you knock the Shadow King out, then nobody else gets that possessed, so it won't continue to use those ping attacks and get those other buffs of the Shadow King. Let's take a look at this matchup right here. We have the absolute A-Force and Null. So first off, note Miss Marvel Classic there on the right-hand side. She is a support character and thus is not able to gain charges when facing off against the Winter Guard. Without the charges, she cannot activate her air superiority, which is the thing that allows her to heal and continually heal the rest of the team, right? That makes them very, very easy to deal with. Null is taking his turn here. He should be putting darkness on our side of the field. But again, because we're the Winter Guard and we have Ursa Major, there is no darkness on us. He does indeed have his battlefield effects, but he will not be able to stack charges, or excuse me, put stacks of darkness on our side of the field, which once again negates a lot of what he's able to do. So just to reiterate again, Miss Marvel Classic is a support character in her kit, right? She has that air superiority, and the charges is what allows her to do some things. Those will not happen because Ursa Major does not allow different types of characters like supports to gain charges. He also does not allow blasters to gain charges. The foremost blaster in the game is Odin. Now, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It might allow him to get to his ultimate faster, but the charges also give him speed and enhance his damage resistance, among other things. So without that being in place, you're able to knock him out much quicker. He also has that same effect on protectors. And again, some of the foremost protectors in the game, we have Mephisto. Without the charges, Mephisto cannot enhance his stats, once again making him a little more squishy and easier to knock out of the match. The same can be said for Juggernaut Zombie. If he doesn't get those charges, he does not get that initial burst of speed up. In addition, he will not be able to revive since the charges play a significant role in that. She-Hulk is also a protector, and again, she gets those charges and that allows her to push back, throw back the negative effects that her team would acquire. And since she's now going to be on the retcon team, it is something to keep in mind. It probably will be important in facing off against that team. We also don't want to forget about the Black Knight. Now, for us as endgame players, we're probably not thinking about the Black Knight anymore, but they are simply giving him away for the new players that are coming into the game. He's very strong and he's probably difficult to deal with. So again, the Winter Guard team will stop the Black Knight from giving those retaliations and striking back against you. These also can take away that charge off of Apocalypse, right? Apocalypse is a support character, and so that just again stops him from being able to retaliate against you early. You can still go right at him, keep him under control, and maybe get the win. So just by way of illustration, we'll take a look at this team right here. This was set up by Desir, so shout out to him. As you can see, Black Knight, no charges. Odin, no charges. Storm has charges. Why? Because Storm is a controller. The Winter Guard, Ursa Major more specifically, doesn't stop controllers from getting charged, just those other classes that we said. So again, without the charges, Odin is a lot more squishy. He is a lot slower. And as long as we can knock people out, we would continue to just use Dark Star to attack people. So we'll get the KO here and another attack from the Dark Star. And we definitely have it under control now. We still have Omega Red who's ready to go. Ursa Major is ready to go. And so is Red Guardian. So we definitely have enough power to get the job done. And just to reiterate, if you already have 3 members of the Winter Guard active, then you can use that stuff right now with the addition of Ursa Major. Let's go to his ultimate ability, Ursine Fury. It is a single target attack for some damage. You will clear all the positive effects and stun that person. So you got damage and you have control. On war defense, right? If you just had this on defense, he's going to attack the enemy with the highest focus. So in that case, he's not going to respect the taunt. He's just going to go after the person who has the highest focus, try to get a stun on that character. So admittedly, I don't really have a good way to demonstrate the ability. The way it stands right now with the Winter Guard team, either they completely erase the opponent before we even get to this ability. And if we have this ability left, like in the case right here, usually it's going to be because Professor X is involved and the rest of the team is gone. So you're not really going to win the matchup that way. But this is what the ability looks like. And maybe as more teams come out through the coming year, we'll have a better gauge of where we could use this. His special ability is what we're probably most familiar with, Lumbering Assault. And yeah, man, on paper, this thing is ridiculous. You can attack all enemies for piercing damage and put slow on each of them and clear death proof. You repeat this attack one more time. So just think about what that's saying. The character has death proof. I'm going to hit them. I'm going to remove one of the death proofs. Hopefully I will then clear an additional death proof. Then I will attack again, which should negate a third death proof if they have 3 stacks. If I was able to knock somebody out, Darkstar would go ahead and trigger her attack, and that should remove that enemy from the board. In addition, if you have 2 Winter Guard allies, or if Ursa Major has ability block, now I'm not sure how it's going to work if Ursa Major has ability block, but let's say we have 2 other Winter Guard allies that have ability block, right? That's a way you can keep control of this team. When he uses this, you're simply going to reduce the duration of all negative effects by 2 for Ursa Major and all the Winter Guard allies. So if someone has placed trauma on your team and they kind of have you locked up, by using this, that can get you out of it, right? It will simply reduce the duration of those effects. Otherwise, you're going to clear 3 negative effects from all Winter Guard allies. So there's that distinction there, right? You can reduce, where the things just kind of go away, just decay, or you can clear, which eliminates them. Which just kind of eliminates them from your possession, which trauma will not allow you to do that. And so this is where that team reset kind of comes into play. So you will eliminate those negative effects that you might have acquired. You're also then going to give the team defense up and immunity to self and all Winter Guard allies. And in Alliance War, you also get Safeguard. So now your team is protected and you're ready to go. So if you have 3 Winter Guard allies, the attack deals an additional 200% piercing damage for both of those attacks. And if you were able to put the slow on them, now you will indeed also put a blind on them. So your opponents are slowed down, they can't see. So even if they're able to get a turn and retaliate against you, they need to have an unavoidable attack to do so, but you are protected in the sense that you're going to have your Safeguard and immunity. And the attack, by the way, cannot be dodged or blocked. It will hit and it will do the things that it said. I want to review this matchup here with the Hellfire Club. I think it's very important that we take a look at what's going on. Generally speaking, Ursa Major will not be the first character to take a turn. It'll be almost anybody else, right? But because of how the Hellfire Club works, right, they are reducing your speed bar, so that might mess up the turn order. It's just something you need to be aware of when dealing with this team. You might have a certain outcome ready to go, but that might not be the case. So we're taking a lot of damage here, and now Ursa Major is going to go first. We weathered the storm pretty much. They have some silence on their side. We'll go ahead and get the hit. So now they have the slow, they have the blind across the board. Everybody has silence. So we are in control of this match. They're not a war team, but I think it's just important to know that there are teams that might mess with the turn order. So you might not necessarily predict the way you're going to fight the match. You're still going to win, but you just need to be adaptable. Another team that functions similarly is the Night Stalkers. So the same deal, they're going to start attacking us and reducing our speed. So this is just something we want to keep in mind. We don't know what teams are coming out in 2026, and teams that can mess up the turn order might have an effect on the Winter Guard team. So just something to be aware of. We're definitely still going to have the upper hand because the Night Stalkers are not a war team. And we just want to show you that as we get into position here, when Ursa Major takes his turn, that's pretty much game over, right? If the match goes beyond this right here, then you might be in trouble. Okay, you might be in trouble. Once this happens, people are removed, Dark Star goes, so right after Omega Red goes. So after those 3 things happen, if the team is still standing, then they're very resilient and they might be able to pose a challenge for the Winter Guard. Just from my testing, I really didn't see too many teams where that was the case if they did not have Professor Xavier on it. The basic ability is Bear Maw. So you're going to attack the primary and adjacent target for damage. You're going to clear a random negative from yourself, right? So from Ursa and from the rest of the Winter Guard team. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. You'll apply minor defense up to self and all Winter Guard allies, which again, I'm not sure how this actually works since you're not allowed because of the passive ability to put minor defense up on the Winter Guard team. So when Ursa does a ISO attack, a counter attack, or an assist, you're not going to get any of those extra effects besides just the straight damage. But the straight damage is increased by 50% per Winter Guard ally. So that means on a full team, you're doing an extra 200% damage on an ISO attack, counter attack, or assist. I mean, that's not too bad at all. So I'm curious to hear what you think after everything we discussed. Do you think that this character is worth getting today? Do you think it's worth accelerating your progress to do that? I'm going to be unlocking them today with power cores. I like the team. I like Alliance War. So for me, it's a lock. They're the strongest team in the game right now, and I foresee them doing a lot of great things in the future. But if you don't like Alliance War, and if you're not really into this team, I get it. Just wait and see. We'll see what teams are coming down the pipe. But I think that what his abilities are foreshadowing, a lot of the stuff that he's doing in the background, I'm curious to see if it's even going to be something that's countered in the recent months to come. Hey, that's just my thoughts on the subject. Again, I think it's a good team. I want to know what you think. And hey, if you haven't seen this video right here, please check it out. It's legit.